Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the 2026 technology forecasts from Microsoft and Gartner to really understand how AI is shifting from being just a simple utility to becoming a true collaborative partner. If you're wondering exactly where enterprise tech is heading and how to get your organization ready for this massive wave of innovation, well, you're in the right place. Let's kick things off with a fantastic quote from Aparna Chennapragada, Microsoft's Chief Product Officer for AI Experiences, because it completely sets the tone for everything we're looking at today. The conversation out there is so often dominated by this fear of being replaced, right? But the 2026 forecasts point to something way more empowering. This next era is entirely about elevating the human role. It's about building alliances between tech and people to absolutely amplify what we can achieve. To make sense of all this, we've structured this explainer into 5 key phases. First, coworkers, not just tools. Second, AI in the field. Third, powering the AI engine. Fourth, guarding the new frontier. And finally, winning with AI in 2026. All right, let's jump right into section 1. Coworkers, not just tools. The shift from reactive tool to proactive partner. We're going to see how the fundamental identity of artificial intelligence is changing right before our eyes. The core evolution highlighted by both Gartner and Microsoft is that we are officially moving past the tool era. The era where AI just basically sits there waiting to answer a question, summarize a PDF, or react to a prompt. We are stepping into the partner era, where AI agents are becoming actual digital colleagues. Just think about a tiny 3-person marketing team that suddenly operates like a massive global agency, all because their AI partners are doing the heavy data crunching and generating content while the humans steer the creative ship. We're even seeing the rise of physical AI, where systems use robotics and smart devices to physically interact with the real world rather than just spitting out text on a screen. Now, Gartner points out that the real magic driving this agile decision-making is something they call multi-agent systems. So instead of trying to build one giant, godlike AI to do absolutely everything, you have multiple, highly specialized AI models working together. They literally collaborate with each other to solve complex problems with almost zero human intervention. This is going to be incredibly valuable in fast-paced, high-stakes environments like logistics or cybersecurity, where speed and multi-layered problem-solving are just absolutely essential. Moving on to section 2, AI in the field, domain-specific impact in 2026. Because theory is great, but execution is what actually matters. Domain-specific language models, meaning AI trained on highly specialized niche datasets, are fundamentally upgrading entire sectors. In science and research, we aren't just getting a better search engine anymore, we're getting true AI lab assistants that can generate their own hypotheses and even run experiments. In software development, we're seeing the rise of repository intelligence. And in healthcare, AI is breaking out of the research lab and into the real world to tackle some massive systemic issues. Let's zoom in on a couple of those examples. Let's talk about why this is an absolute game changer for healthcare. The World Health Organization projects a global shortage of 11 million health workers by 2030. That's a scary number. But to help close that gap, Microsoft AI's Diagnostic Orchestrator was recently able to solve incredibly complex medical cases with an 85.5% accuracy rate. To put that into perspective for you, the average for experienced human physicians on those exact same complex cases was just 20%. So this isn't just about saving time, it's a literal lifeline that will give millions of people better access to accurate care and treatment planning. Now pivot over to software development for a second. Recently, GitHub saw 1 billion commits pushed in a single year. 1 billion. That is an unprecedented mountain of code. Frankly, there isn't enough coffee in the world for any human team to handle that volume. It completely proves why AI has to evolve beyond just suggesting a line of code here or there. With repository intelligence, AI analyzes the patterns across a team's entire central code hub. It understands the context, like what changed, why it changed, and how all those pieces fit together. Catching errors early and automating routine fixes is quite literally the only way developers can safely manage this massive acceleration. Okay, section 3. Powering the AI engine, smarter, denser, and quantum-powered infrastructure. You see, all those amazing front-end applications require a massive leap in back-end infrastructure to actually run. Microsoft CTO Mark Russinovich makes a great point. Building for AI isn't just about throwing money at bigger, power-hungry data centers anymore. The future is about packing computing power incredibly densely into linked AI superfactories. Think of it like air traffic control, but for AI workloads, using dynamic routing so that if one job finishes or slows down, another instantly takes its place. The goal is to ensure that absolutely zero computing cycles and no watts of power ever sit idle. And this brings us to a mind-bending breakthrough in hybrid computing, merging AI, supercomputers, and quantum tech. We're talking about a years, not decades timeline for quantum advantage now. This is largely driven by advances in what are called logical and topological qubits, like the ones in Microsoft's Meyer-Yonah 1 chip. Basically, by grouping physical, fragile quantum bits together into specific topological designs, they've made them vastly more stable. Think of it like braiding thin, delicate threads together to create a heavy-duty rope. They can now actually catch and correct their own errors. This is the exact architecture that's going to let us solve problems in molecular dynamics and materials design that classical computers simply cannot touch. Which leads us to section 4, guarding the new frontier, safeguarding the new digital workforce. Because obviously, with all this immense processing power and autonomy comes some pretty significant risk. Vasu Jackal at Microsoft Security emphasizes a really vital shift here. Trust is the currency of innovation. Moving forward, every single AI agent needs a clear, verifiable identity and strict access limits, exactly like a human employee would have. We have to use specialized AI security platforms with built-in ambient protections. Why? To prevent our shiny new digital coworkers from turning into unchecked double agents that carry hidden vulnerabilities inside our networks. The rule is simple. If an AI doesn't explicitly need access to specific data to do its job, it absolutely shouldn't have it. On top of that, Gartner throws a huge spotlight on digital provenance as an essential trend for 2026. Look, with generative AI getting as good as it is, we are past the point of being able to visually tell if an image, video, or document is legitimate. We just can't rely on the human eye anymore. We have to use hard technological means to verify where our digital assets actually came from. This is going to be our main line of defense against the rising tide of deepfakes and super sophisticated AI scams. In response to these complex global threats, we're also seeing a massive trend called geopatriation. Driven heavily by European nations, businesses, and governments are waking up to the fact that just because you can scatter your data all over the globe in the cloud doesn't mean you should. Sometimes you really just need to bring your data back home. By relocating workloads back to local storage or on-premises servers, organizations are taking back control, shrinking their attack surface, and making legal compliance a whole lot easier. Finally, Section 5, Winning with AI in 2026. Implementation strategies for the partner era. We've talked about the tech and the safeguards, but how do you actually implement all of this successfully in your own organization? Well, Gartner lays out a super clear, no-nonsense, 4-step playbook for adopting AI. Step 1, please don't just adopt AI for the novelty of it. Tie it to measurable outcomes like actual cost reduction or revenue growth. Step 2, strengthen your data foundation. Remember, an AI is only as good as the clean data pipelines feeding it. Step 3, establish your governance early. Get those ethics policies and audit trails in place from day one. And step 4, always have a backup plan. If regulations change overnight or a major AI platform goes down, you need a solid plan B. But, it's not always smooth sailing. As you roll out those 4 steps, you've got to watch out for the roadblocks that constantly derail organizations. You have to smash internal data silos so your AI has the full picture. You've got to train your staff to bridge the skills gap. But honestly, the biggest pitfall? Staff resistance. Leaders absolutely have to sit down and listen to their employees' real concerns about job security and ethics. You have to constantly reinforce the premise we started this whole explainer with. AI is here to work alongside them, to amplify what they do, not replace them. So, as we wrap up this explainer on the 2026 forecast from Gartner and Microsoft, I want to leave you with this thought. The technology is definitively shifting from a reactive tool to a proactive teammate. The infrastructure is getting ready, the safeguards are being mapped out as we speak, and the potential impact across every single industry is just massive. The real question is, how are you going to adapt your mindset and strategy to amplify your own potential? Thanks so much for joining us as we unpacked this incredible evolution. Start planning now because 2026 is a lot closer than you think.